Hello and welcome. In our previous tutorial, we were able to implement the sitemaps for our website. And in this tutorial, we are going to look at how to create a search. We may have a number of blog posts, as you can see here. There are not many, there are about, I believe, 4, 5. And I was able to add some pagination, although I won't go into the details of that. You can refer to the code. And let's say we have 1,000 blog posts, for example. We won't keep on clicking next, next, next until we reach to the particular post that we are looking for. So we may need to filter or to kind of search for the particular blog post or a particular blog post that has a given title or a given name in the title. So there are many ways to do this. You can use the Django Postgres. If you're using the Postgres as your database, you can use the Postgres full text search as one example. And let's just see. Yeah, we have these what we call the full text search that works well with PostgreSQL. That is one. And then you can also check it on. There's a library called, I believe it's called Django Watson library, and it also implements the full stack uh, multi-table search implementation. And we also have what you call the Django haystack that you can also use to implement a search. It can be search on anything. For example, if you use maybe Instagram, you can search a username. You can search, something based on an hashtag or something like that. So this is actually usually implemented in so many, especially those large websites that you use with Django, and it supports backends such as Solar, Search, Elastic. I don't know the pronunciation of this, Whoosh, and the Xapian. Uh, so that's those are the ones we have. However, in this tutorial, we are going to look at uh, what you call the complex queries, and you're going to use something that is called the queue objects. Uh, should be somewhere. Yeah, complex lookups with queue objects, and this is what you're going to be using. So our first step, we'll be creating we'll first implement a search form, and as you can see, the best place to add our search form in this particular case, I would want to add it on this navigation bar. So I'm going to open the Bootstrap 5 page, and I'm going to add the search. It's actually under, it should be under navigation bar, layout, components. So we have the navigation bar, and my interest is I'm interested with the form. So check the nav bar. So you see this kind of search form. This is what I want, and I'm just going to copy this because it's this form class. Class is the one that handles the or houses that form. And then I'm going to go back into my code, and I'm going to, inside the templates, we have the base.html so that appears in all pages. So I'm just going to go to where after these logins, the UL classes. I think I can add it somewhere here. I can just try and arrange it so that it looks presentable in a way. So we have saved it. Let's refresh, and you see we have this search form here we have added. So we are going to see how we can arrange it so that it feels the whole, or these items are evenly distributed. But for now, what you're going to do, we are going to go to our views.py. We need to create a view for our search, And inside the application, the website application, we have the views.py. And we are going to import something, and I think I can make reference to the Django documentation. I'll first import this Django.db. From models, we import the queue that this is what you're going to use for complex lookups. So we add it there. And then the next thing we're going to create a search view. And we can just create it here below the contact. Oh, it will also be a class. Class, I can call it blog search view, and it will display a list of blog posts that correspond to our lookup, a particular lookup. So we have the first item, which is a model, which is blog post. We have already imported it at the top. And then we will have a context object name. And for this one, I can call it, you can call it blog search, maybe blog search list. Okay, then the next, we will create a template for this. So the template name, we can call it, of course, it will be inside the website. Then we can call it blog posts search. And then let me immediately create this inside the templates. So we have a new template which we will call blog posts search, blog post search.html. And you can add it to the temp. So we have this. You can see now the warning has disappeared. It was there before. Then the other item that we are going to make use of is the get query set. So the get query set is an implementation of the Django query set API, and this is the API whereby you can query items. You can filter items using query sets. You can get distinct items from the database. You can get, we have even these prefetch items. There are so many. You have the get. So we have those examples from the Django documentation. I'm going to share the link in the video. So if you look at this get query set, we are going to return a query set from a query from our model. So it will be blog post, and then we will fetch the objects. But in this case, we are going to filter, and this is where we are going to use our lookup object, whereby we have queue. And remember the fields that we have in our model. So let's go to our model, and we have all these fields. We have status, ID, the header image and body. So all these fields are queryable. Okay. So in this case, we are going to query the title, and we look at, so we can just paste this here. And then we normally use two underscores to get, you can get an exact name of the title, text in the title. Ends with, we have I contains, I end with, we have even the regular expressions, regex, and check whether it's null, what it starts with. Okay, and we have all these, even the category. You can see that even the foreign keys the query is being extended into the foreign key. But we're just going to use a simple I contains, and just going to add and in this case. And I think I can leave it there, and let's see what if I now create. Or one thing that I've forgotten is the URL. We need to have a URL for this search. So inside our application, we have the urls.py. So I'm just going to import another view here, which is a search, blog search view. And I'm going to make use of it here. So I can probably call it blog search. I can remove all these other things. Then we have blog search, blog search view. And we have .as view. Okay, I'm just confirming that I've named it correctly. Blog search view, and then the name we can call it something like blog search blog post search. Yeah, it seems we have a problem somewhere. Yeah, I forgot to add this. Yeah, so let's see what happens when you go to blog search inside our page, if there's anything. Yeah, so we have an issue here. This is because we have not edited our template. So I'll still go back to my template. It is empty. So it is opening, but it is empty. So I need to check out the something like I'll use this blog article. Just copy and I'm going to paste this. And inside this container, I'm going to remove blog article. Actually, I can fetch it from blog posts. And I will also need to use kind of, let me just copy all this. I can paste it here. And let me just, so remember that we are working on the search. I've just copy and pasted items here, and I did believe some things may not work correctly. So remember that we in this particular case we have what you call the context object name, which is a blog search list. So we need to have in these instances we need to replace the blog posts with the blog search list. So I'm going to leave this find and replace. So I'm going to replace this. Oops. I'm going to replace this with the context object name here. And let me just refresh and see what you're probably gonna get. Yeah. So you see, this is the output of our query. Let me take you back to the views. We have created a view. So this view, which references the blog post model, and we have created a query set. So this query set or this query filters all the posts by title, and further it goes deeper and looks at inside the title the posts that have and. So for example, let me just replace this query with the word Python. I believe there's some post that has Python. So if I do a refresh, you can see we have all these posts title contain the word Python. Okay. And let me see all the articles, trying to look for some similarities. And the other thing you can look at, let's for example filter with QGIS. And remember, you realize that these are small caps. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to the search. So you realize even with the small caps, it's still showing. This is because we have I contains and contains. So contains is case sensitive, I contains is not case sensitive. I don't know the other differences, but that is one difference that I can probably point out. So if probably we add py, let's see what will happen. Uh, just save and do a refresh. Yeah, so all these that have this text py, they kind of fall in that category. Yeah, so this is one way of doing our filters, and we can also add chained. I don't know whether they're called chained searches. You can use the logical and operator, which stands constitutes for this, and then we can add multiple, like another lookup, and in this lookup we can probably use another field. Let's say the author is, you can say author. Let's say author ID, something like that, is equals to 1. Just making a guess, a lucky guess. Maybe I'll be lucky. Uh, so you see the author ID for this is 1. And can also have author.name. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, this is a, we can make use of this implementation. So I want to filter based on the title and the category. Okay, category. Uh, we have category. I contain. So you can even filter in the fields, and yeah, we can let's see how we can implement this. So iTitle contains. We can create a variable so that we have our query. We can call it query, and in this I can also call it query. And then I'll create a new variable here that I'll call actually it should be inside this method. Call it query is equals to, so it will be equal to the requests, self.request, and the requests when we are searching, we are doing a get requests. We want to get some information from the server, so we'll do request dot get. Then we'll also add the get method, and in this case we'll call this, you can probably give it a name like Q. Normally the websites they use Q, even when you use your search engine or search something inside some blog post, you realize that mostly they normally use this, but you can probably use some other parameter. So we have the blog post query.filter. So in this case, it is going to check this the title and the category title based on this. Okay. So let's see where we can add this queue. So for example, for now, let's see if when I do a refresh, you see say cannot use none as a query because it's getting this search as none in these values. It does not know what this queue is. So we are going to go back to our base.html, where we have our form, because this form is the one that it serves like our guide, so to speak. So we are going to, in our form, we are going to add the form method as get, and because it is a get request, you want to request some information from the server, and in this case is the blog post. Then we have something else which is we need to add in the form, which is action. Where does it direct us to? Okay, so it will direct us to a URL, and this URL is the search blog post search. So whenever you search an word and type or click submit, it's going to direct us to the search results page. Then we'll also edit something here in the input. So in the input, we are going to add the input name. Do we have a name? We do not. So we can add the input name as Q. So this is where we are adding this query that is going to be uh, is being also referenced here. So from the requests, when you make a search, it generates a get request that comes here and checks onto the model or the database, and then it filters and gives us the results from the server. So this is a very good implementation of the model view template and also the Django query sets, which probably you haven't looked at, but it is quite detailed, and you can read more in the documentation to understand. So let me go back and remove this. Let me see what happens when I search some like py. You see now it immediately searches inside the blog, our page. If I search and yeah, if I search, we have a category called other. So let's see what happens when we search in other. We only have one post. If we search tech, this is what we get based on the category of the blog post. So this brings us to the end of this tutorial, and you can dig in further into the Django query set API. And if you like this video, kindly like. You can share with your colleagues, and also please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the bell icon for whenever I create a new content, you can be able to receive a notification. Thank you for watching.